Welcome back to Mini Debunked. For those of you who do not know, this is basically like my original debunked videos where I don't have a script or anything. I just watch a video and debunk it. Today we have a video titled Deaths at Six Flags, and just saying, normally I keep these videos PG. This one, due to what he says, will not be. So click off now if you don't like that kind of stuff. So let's get started. So deaths at Six Flags. Here we go.
So last time we did a video like this, we were talking about deaths that took place at Disneyland. And those deaths were pretty gruesome and really disturbing, but today, it's gonna get worse. Oh, that's awful. Oh, but you know, it gets worse. Okay, I'm kidding. And again, I'm gonna say, please, no disrespect to the family who died. I just find it really interesting, and I like gross, crazy shit, and hopefully you do too. So today, we're gonna be talking about accidents that occurred at Six Flags Magic Mountain.
Now notice he has Six Flags Magic Mountain. And I'm pretty sure, I've watched through this video already, none of these deaths were at Six Flags Magic Mountain. They were all at different Six Flags parks, but again, confusing all Six Flags parks as Six Flags Magic Mountain.
Now, Six Flags is known for having the most intense roller coasters, basically, in the world.
Steel Vengeance.
I think they have over 20 in each theme park, and they're fucking crazy. I mean, they have loops, they have...
No, they do not have over 20 in each Six Flags, that's for sure. Look at Great Escape.
Sharp turns. On some of them, you're standing while you're going on it. They have rides with fire. It's just the most intense rides there are. But because
No, not. But good rides, yeah, sure.
of that, sometimes they have accidents.
Yeah, well, you literally just plugged your video for Disney, which has like the least intense rides in the world, and they have accidents too. It's just a thing that happens, and it's mostly because people are morons.
And today I'm not even going to talk about all the times that people get stuck on the roller coasters while they're upside down. That shit happens all the time. And
no, it does not happen all the time. Not upside down. Sure, maybe get e-stopped on the lift till evac'd off a brake run or something like that. That's normal. But upside down, that's extremely rare because you have to have just the perfect conditions for something like that to happen. Like perfect wind conditions and just perfect weight of the train. Train has to stop in the exact right place. It's very, very rare.
Sometimes they're hanging there for hours, all the blood rushing to their head in 100-degree weather. It literally makes me sick just thinking about it. Now, the first death we're going to talk about is the Texas Giant. Now, the
it's the new Texas Giant that the accident happened on, which is the RMC conversion. And, of course, he's showing the POV of the old Texas Giant.
Texas Giant is a roller coaster that's pretty intense. And on 2013...
Just pretty intense, that's all.
It had an accident that ended in death. A woman named Rosa Gowana was ejected from the ride and fell 75 feet to her death. Rosa was sitting in the
great news animation.
And the lap bar didn't completely close.
Yeah, because one, Gerstlauer trains, I don't really blame the trains. Honestly, it's more ride-op failure. It was essentially a problem with it not going down far enough, and so it couldn't keep the immense weight of this extremely overweight woman inside of the train. Basically, if you're fat, super fat, and you can barely fit on the ride, best not to ride it.
And when the roller coaster went down the first big hill, she flew out.
This news animation, though.
She fell from 75 feet, which is higher than a 7-story building, and she landed on a metal support beam. Here's some news footage from that day.
She goes up like this. And then when it drops to come down, that's when it released, and she just tumbled.
Carmen Brown was next in line to ride the Texas Giant when she
Even the news called it the Texas Giant, GP News.
watched a woman tumble to her death. It was 6:45 Friday night. Brown says the woman got on the roller coaster with her son, and then on one of the sharp twists and steep drops along the Giant's 152-foot
Texas
tall
Giant.
path, the woman fell.
Now, this story really upsets me because I once was on a roller coaster where I didn't fit.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It's not that difficult to just put down the chips, maybe lose a little bit of weight, and then, you know, come back next year. I mean, seriously, it's not that difficult. So why do you even bring that up? And
Luckily, they made me get off of it, and I was really mad.
yeah, and they do that all the time, and people get super triggered about it. So they're kind of at a lose-lose situation.
At the time, because I was like, fuck you guys, you could have just forced it down, or I could have just held on really tight. It's so
Exactly.
embarrassing to get kicked off a roller coaster, but thank God they did. I just can't imagine being on that car with her and seeing that. That would be really fucked up. Speaking of fucked up, our next accident is not a death, but it is gross. And that is the Superman ride that malfunctioned and took a little girl's legs with it.
It was, I believe it was Superman Tower of Power, and what he's showing here is the one at Six Flags Over Texas, which is an SNS shot tower. At least one of them's a shot tower. And the one that actually malfunctioned was an Intamin, and it was actually the first Intamin giant drop, so fun fact.
Ride is Superman Tower of Power, and it is a...
But again, this is a different one.
So basically, you go in this car, you go all the way up, and then it lets you go, and you fall all the way down. It drops you from 154 feet up in the sky at a rate of 54 miles per hour. Well,
I'm not 100% sure on those statistics, but those sound like the statistics from this SNS one that he's showing, not the statistics from the Intamin one that actually malfunctioned.
One day in Kentucky, the ride malfunctioned.
Not to mention the ride that malfunctioned was torn down afterwards. Like, it's not like they kept using it after something like this.
The ride was falling, one of the cables snapped, whipped around the ride, and struck a girl's legs.
I mean, not exactly, but I'll let it slide.
Here's a quote.
But we're talking about deaths at Six Flags, and this was not a death.
From somebody that was...
The fact that we're already not on deaths after the second one just shows you how rare these accidents actually are.
There. I saw the car go up, then the cable broke. I heard a loud psh, and then I heard a lot of people screaming. When I looked, the girl was just sitting there, and she didn't have any legs. She was just there, calm, probably in shock. I can't even imagine that. You're literally sitting there, you turn, and the person on the ride next to you is missing their fucking legs. Now, there's no footage of this specific event happening, but there is a lot of footage of rides like this malfunctioning, and it is fucking terrifying. Take a look.
This is in Japan in the 90s, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's Japan. I've heard of this clip before, but basically it's not relevant at all to what actually happened. So we'll just skip through it. It's not the actual ride accident. Basically, the rescuers get up there and then the ride drops.
To make you never ever want to ride a ride like this again, I don't know what is. But this girl's not the only one that lost her legs at Six Flags. This next story is even worse. In 1978, there was an incident on the ride called the Eagle's Flight. So the Eagle's Flight was a gondola that took you through the park up in the air. Kind of like a ski lift, but it was enclosed. Well, one day, a pair of newlyweds were inside of the car and they were rocking it back and forth.
You know, breaking the rules, you know, being idiots.
Just having a good time. Unfortunately...
You know, just having a good time. No, they're breaking the rules and it's completely their fault. Next.
Just out of superstition. Now the next death is probably the most gruesome. And
this one. I hate this one because he makes it sound, and well, I'll just let you see.
It's also the most sad. And that was when somebody got decapitated on Batman the Ride.
No, they did not get decapitated on Batman the Ride. They got decapitated under Batman the Ride when they were not supposed to be there. Also, he's showing the wrong Batman the Ride.
So Batman the Ride is actually my favorite ride at Six Flags. I know I'm talking about all these deaths
and it's not at every Six Flags, and some Batman the Rides are different from other Batman the Rides, but he is talking about the B&M invert.
Scary, this and that. I really love Six Flags, and I used to go a lot. Probably not as much anymore after reading all of this.
You know, because in there, literally, if you add up the hours, you know, days of operation for all the Six Flags parks combined, hundreds of years of operations. There's been, what, 2-3 deaths that we found and one serious injury. Like, come on. This is not bad. Consider, like, just a highway in, like, 2, 3, 4 days would have more deaths than that.
But I'll still probably go back. And Batman is my favorite. It is fast, but it's not too fast. You're sitting, but your legs are flying through the air. It's just a really good ride. Well, in June of 2008, a teenager lost his hat inside of the ride, so he climbed over the fence to get it.
Oh, what's that? He broke park rules. He could have just gone over to a ride operator, said, hey, I lost my hat, and then at the end of the day, they could have gone under and picked it up for him. But no, instead, he decided to break the rules, hop over, and essentially kill himself.
He was trying to look for it. The ride came and struck him in the head and took it clean off. The police report said that the ride...
Again, this is basically just natural selection is what I like to think of it. Same with the Raptor incident. Like, it's exactly the same thing. It's completely his fault, and you really shouldn't feel any empathy for him.
The ride was going full speed when it struck him, and that was 50 miles an hour. Luckily, nobody was actually riding the ride when this happened. They were just testing it out, but it was still insanely fucked up. And the kid was with his friend. and his friend survived, and he saw the whole thing. So that story, just even more so, is a warning for you guys. If you are at a theme park, please do not do anything stupid. Please.
Exactly, and that's what caused most of these deaths. In fact, pretty much all of these deaths, really, including when you're too overweight to ride, like just doing stupid things like that. Or, I guess the only thing that's really not on the rider is the Superman Tower of Power incident, and that wasn't even a death.
Please do not climb any gates. Please do not do anything without asking somebody, because unfortunately a little mistake like that could end.
A little mistake. Yeah, climbing multiple safety barriers and ignoring multiple signs. Oh, it's just a little mistake.
Like that. Well, there you guys go. That was.
So that about wraps up this video. It's pretty bad. It's pretty clickbait. The comments are way worse. I recommend you guys go through and look through there and reply to them. But reply to them nicely. Be sure to check out my video on how to reply to GP comments correctly. So thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.